Congress failed to reach a compromise Thursday night, putting aside the possibility of an auto bailout for the time being. Will the Bush administration come to the rescue? If it is a rescue. Joining us to discuss this is Republican Congresswoman Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, representative from District 18 in Miami-Dade and Monroe counties. Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, thanks for joining us. You know, it seems like there's a damned if you do, damned if you don't issue here with the auto bailout. Certainly there are strong ideological and intellectual arguments you can make for both sides. You voted against it. Why?
Well, you really framed this issue so well. This was really a no-win situation, no matter which way you voted. I voted no because I believe that the big three automakers should have better declared bankruptcy, reorganized, and built a better mousetrap, built the kind of car that the American public wants to buy. That's why Toyota's doing well, Honda's doing well. They're making the kind of car Americans want. I think that also the private investors were not tapped enough, making them a little more responsible about the financial mess that they've created. And the taxpayers' money is not to be used willy-nilly as we have been doing. I think that Congress has been acting in a fiscally incorrect way, an irresponsible way, and I'm putting myself in that category as well. For example, I voted in favor of the financial market rescue plan. I'm kind of a little chagrined now about my vote. Why? Because we gave so much power to the Treasury Secretary and to the administration that now monies that were supposed to be for the banks to loan to our community so that folks could go to college, they could buy a car, they could buy a home. Now they're going to use that money and give it perhaps to the big three automakers. That's how much leeway we had in the financial market bailout, which was supposed to work for making folks not lose their home, helping them. And now I voted no because the automakers just have not been fiscally sound. There's no real oversight, and I just couldn't stomach another bailout. This was not an anti-union vote. God bless the unions. I work with them. Auto workers, they've negotiated their salaries and their benefits. This was not anti-union at all.
You have always been such a strong Republican voice. It seems like the Republican Party is in a real difficult situation. You have a Republican presidency that seems to be going against the will of the Republicans in Congress. How does that sit with you? Newt Gingrich a few days ago was quoted as saying, "Nobody could have ever told me a year ago that George W. Bush would be, in essence, nearly nationalizing the financial industry and all the auto industry."
It is bewildering. We are at a party that is searching for our own soul. There are those who believe that we did so badly in this election period because we weren't conservative enough, because we didn't explain our conservative message in the right way. There are those like Bobby Jindal and other moderates in the Republican Party who believe that we need to become a big tent party and we need to let in all kinds of philosophies. So right now it's a between kind of party where we have President Bush, who would have ever thought that he would be for all these bailouts, and the rank and file who are saying no to. Where do you draw the line? I mean, the airlines are hurting. Movie theaters could be hurting. I mean, do we bail out movie theaters? No, but we do bail out airlines. Who makes that determination?
And what about
how about this station? It's a wonderful station. Do we bail that? I mean, there's just no end.
How about homeowners? How about when we get back to the debacle of the mortgage industry?
That's what this was all going to be for. This was going to stop the foreclosure. We're bleeding here, especially in South Florida. The construction is at a standstill. We have empty condominiums. Homeowners cannot get a loan. They want to buy a new house. They're scrimping together a down payment throughout their life, and that's what this was going to be about, to save the housing industry, the building industry, the construction industry. Now we've moved so far from that they're using this so-called TARP funding for anything. That's how much power we've given to the Secretary of the Treasury.
There seems to be a lot of focus in President-elect Obama's administration as he begins to put all of his ideas together, and there seems to be a lot of emphasis on infrastructure development and improvement. That does an awful lot to help those who are in the construction and engineering industry, but we're beginning to see an awful lot of white-collar unemployment. And how does that help women? There aren't a lot of women engineers. It might take another generation before we see that really cross over the gender line. But how do you find more employment for women, and what are we going to do with all of these in the financial sector, for example, as well as in other private sectors who are white-collar workers?
Excellent point.
Jobs?
Excellent point. And that is the next, not a bailout, but that's the new financial rescue package that the Obama administration will unleash upon the Congress. We get sworn in January 6th. He, of course, doesn't get in until late January. But the Nancy Pelosi plan is to have a bill on his desk on the day he takes office that will be a massive public works project. It'll be helping here in South Florida, the projects that are being discussed, helping to finally finish the airport, finish Metro Rail, do more bus lines. Massive public works project, but as you point out, there are a lot of holes in there, because these kinds of projects will help a certain sector of our society and not necessarily lift all boats. But the devil's in the details. It all sounds good, but we don't want to get just make work kind of projects. And again, this is going to be a massive bill, and nobody wants to be the Grinch, but at some point you've got to put the fiscal brakes on and say, wait a minute, let's figure out what we're doing. The debt that we're passing off to our children and our children's children is going to be unbearable.